Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the inaugural episode of the Presidential Podcast. I'm Barack Obama, and we were supposed to start 23 minutes ago. As you can tell, it's just me right now because the two other presidents decided that punctuality is optional when your term's expired. This is already a disaster.
You're being dramatic, Barack. We're here now, aren't we? The show can begin. People don't tune in for the punctuality. They tune in for the personality, and let's be honest. I've got plenty of that.
Come on, man. Cut us a break. We had important stuff going on. Life happens. Time's a slippery concept, especially when you're trying to run a store, balance your blood sugar, and fend off Cher in the same morning.
Let me guess, neither of you can give a straightforward reason for being late. So I'll keep it simple. Joe, you go first. Not because you deserve to, but because there's a 50-50 chance you'll fall asleep halfway through the episode, and I'd rather get your rambling out of the way before we lose daylight.
Fine, I'll go. So here's the deal. I was working the register at my Ames store, you know the one. I run the place, but I can't get anyone to work for me. I think it's because I keep giving out free coupons and calling all the employees champ. Either way, I was shorthanded again, and I had to jump on the register myself. Things were going fine. I had just scanned a bunch of coloring books shaped like Abraham Lincoln's face when suddenly Cher walks in. The Cher, black leather jacket, sunglasses, the whole shebang. I panicked. I didn't know what she wanted, and frankly, I didn't like how her face was looking at me. I got scared, and yeah, I peed my pants. Again. Kamala had to take over for me. She wasn't happy about it. Said her math was even worse than mine. I told her we just hit buttons and smile, but she insisted on using the calculator app and somehow made change for a $20 bill with Canadian Tire tokens. So yeah, that's where I've been.
I'm genuinely losing hope in you, Joe. Not as a friend, not even as a politician, but as a functioning human being.
You peed your pants over Cher. And I'm the one that gets called unstable. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. That's so you, Joe.
I said it was a panic response. Sometimes her voice echoes in my head. It's like getting shouted at by a fashionable banshee.
All right, Donald, please tell us your reason so I can figure out how deeply I regret starting this podcast.
It's very simple. As you both probably saw in the news, our private Signal group chat was compromised. Mike Waltz, my national security advisor, accidentally added Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic to a classified chat about Yemen. What a klutz. It was supposed to be a conversation about drones, strategy, oil, typical president stuff, but instead, it turned into a full-on PR nightmare. So now we're trying to figure out how to securely communicate without getting leaked every 5 minutes. Tulsi Gabbard, a smart and beautiful lady and director of national intelligence, very off the grid, suggested that we all get Nintendo DS systems and use PictoChat. Says it's analog enough to confuse the NSA. I respect the idea, but it's not exactly scalable.
Isn't that what kids used during recess in 2006?
Yes, but apparently that's what makes it secure. Mike Waltz is so scared of being fired after the leak that he said he'd use carrier pigeons if it meant keeping his job.
And the rest of your cabinet?
Oh, it gets worse. RFK Jr. backed that, and we should really go back to using messenger pigeons. As long as they're not the government-issued spy birds left over from the deep state, which apparently I didn't fully dismantle. Marco Rubio suggested we use MySpace because he misses the good old days. My maid Nikki Haley said she'd prefer sending coded messages through Pinterest boards. And Senator Tim Scott chipped in and he said he'll just keep talking into his coffee cup and hope someone hears him.
Are these people real? Bruh, is this really the timeline we're living in?
Unfortunately, yes, and they all work for me. Tulsi's got 3 DS consoles already. She's customizing her avatar. We're falling into chaos.
This was supposed to be a thoughtful, dignified podcast reflecting on our shared time in office. What I've gotten instead is tales of involuntary urination, virtual cartoon chat rooms, and government pigeons.
At least we're being honest.
Honesty is what the people want, Barack, and frankly, they also want entertainment, and nobody tunes in for policy talk unless there's a celebrity scandal involved.
God help us. Let's just start the podcast before one of you gets distracted by a cereal box or a new conspiracy theory.
All right, gentlemen, as I was saying, after the whole fiasco at the Ames store where I, let's just be honest, had to tap out mid-shift because Cher walked in wearing a trench coat that looked like it was made out of rejected disco balls, I realized I needed to take a little break for myself. Kamala had to jump on register duty, even though she keeps telling me math isn't her strong suit, which is mildly concerning given she's the one running my inventory reports. Anyway, I snuck out the back. I didn't even think to change. And yes, I was still wearing my Minecraft creeper patterned adult diapers, very comfortable, highly breathable, and my Rainbow Dash tank top from that fan meetup I don't talk about. I didn't care what I looked like. I didn't care what I looked like. I just wanted to see the Minecraft movie before someone spoiled it for me in the break room or in aisle 7 next to the discontinued Lego knockoffs.
Joe, you're seriously telling us that you walked out into the world dressed like an out-of-context meme and went to a public theater looking like that? No disguise, no hat, not even sunglasses?
I mean, yeah. I did put on one of those flimsy COVID ear masks thinking it would help, but it had a picture of Steve from Minecraft on it, and honestly, I think that made it worse. People just thought I was cosplaying or completely unhinged. But nobody stopped me, and I made it to the nearest theater, got myself a jumbo popcorn with extra butter and a blue raspberry ice, sat down smack in the middle row, and prepared to lose myself in the world of blocks, knockoff Squidwards, and pickaxes.
Okay, now tell us what you actually watched, because I already know where this is going. Let me guess, you thought you saw the movie, but it was something else?
So the movie starts, right? And I'm watching all these villagers running around, and one of them is doing a news report about a creeper explosion near the village library and how someone returned a book late. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, they really leaned into satire with this one. But then I notice the animation style feels really familiar. And it hits me halfway through my ICE that I'm not watching the Minecraft movie at all. I'm watching a compilation of villager news episodes from Element Animation on YouTube. Like it's great, but not what I fucking paid for. Some dumb emo teenager had a bootleg stream running through a laptop and a portable projector in the back of the room. I got duped.
Joe, that's not even close. Villager News is a decade-old parody series. How do you mix that up with a Hollywood-produced feature film?
You mean to tell me you sat through 20 minutes of a pixelated villager screaming about overdue books and thought that was a legitimate studio release? Joe, come on. That's like mistaking a Chuck E. Cheese animatronic show for a Vegas residency.
I know. But listen, I did eventually see the real Minecraft movie. I got home, changed out of my creeper diapers, put on some clean pajama pants with little pickaxes on them, and watched it streaming the next day. And man, it was something else. I loved the part where Jason Momoa's character, Garrett, teamed up with Steve, played by Jack Black. Their dynamic was electric. They brought this buddy adventure energy to the story that made the blocky world feel grounded and exciting. The creeper chase scene halfway through, incredible. And that redstone-powered minecart roller coaster escape blew my mind. Hey, did you get the joke? I had to tell you it before I forgot again.
Honestly, I have to agree. I watched it too, and I was expecting it to be a complete disaster, but the numbers don't lie. The movie made over $150 million domestically its opening weekend, and globally, it shot past $300 million. That's not just success, that's franchise territory. You don't pull those numbers unless you tapped into something real. And let's face it, Minecraft isn't just a game anymore, it's a cultural juggernaut.
And while critics have been mixed, some saying it lacks narrative complexity or that the humor skews juvenile, the audience reception has been overwhelmingly positive. It's one of those rare films where the fan base showed up in force, not just for nostalgia, but because it genuinely delivered what they were hoping for. It struck the right balance between world building and fan service, and it didn't fall into the trap of trying to be too meta or overly cynical.
You know what it reminded me of? Captain Sparkles, his Fallen Kingdom music video series. You remember that, right? The original Fallen Kingdom, Take Back the Night, Find the Pieces, and the one with the Ender Dragon. Man, I used to watch those every night before bed.
Captain Sparkles was basically Minecraft royalty back in the day. Those music videos had more emotional resonance than some Oscar-nominated films. I mean, I'll admit it, I teared up a little watching the kingdom fall. That animation was top tier, especially considering it was made in-game. That was back when Minecraft content creators were building entire universes from nothing but blocks and drama.
I always appreciated how those videos had a clear story arc. There was actual narrative growth, a fallen king, a redemption journey, family themes. For what was essentially an animated fan project, it had cinematic weight. Kids learned about tragedy and sacrifice from those videos before they ever read Hamlet.
Exactly. And I'm glad we can talk about all this here, because if I brought this up at home, Jill would have told me to go take my meds and stop yelling about pixel people again. And frankly, I don't want to hike all the way back to Delaware to grab my pills. I'd have to pass through a maze of Trump cabinet members, and last time I ran into Kristi Noem, she said if she caught me trespassing again, she'd put me on a one-way flight to rural Ireland. Tom Holman backed her up and started measuring me for a travel crate.
Hey, I told them to tone it down, but you wandered into the West Wing wearing a cape made out of plastic bags and claimed you were the king of creative mode. What do you expect?
Listen, that was one time, and I was role-playing. There was a camera crew, I think. Maybe it was just interns. Either way, I'm glad we're doing this podcast. Talking about Minecraft with people who actually get it, it's more therapeutic than anything I get in Delaware.
Well, Joe, I don't know what kind of podcast this is turning into, but at the very least, it's honest. And I think the audience is going to appreciate that. Now, please just don't wear the creeper diapers to the next recording. We're trying to build a brand here, not a daycare.
No promises, Barack. They're surprisingly breathable.
God help us all. I know you saved me back in July, but can you do it one last time, please?
You know, all this Minecraft talk's got me thinking, like really thinking. We've covered the movie, the music videos, the servers, but what we haven't touched is the creators, the YouTubers, the legends. I mean, who were your guys' favorites? Because I had a whole routine built around this stuff. Back when I was still vice president, every night before I went to bed, I'd fire up the old laptop, log onto YouTube with a screen brightness so high it could blind a bat, and I'd let those blocky thumbnails guide me to peace. Watching Minecraft videos was like therapy for me, still is. There's just something about watching a man build a wheat farm from scratch that soothes the soul, even when the country was in a tailspin.
All right, hold the phone. Did someone say Minecraft YouTubers? Because I just got pinged in the group chat and dropped everything at the intelligence department. Like, literally. I left the encryption server running and bounced. Because this is a conversation that deserves my full undivided attention. I didn't fight for a country that lets people go around disrespecting hermitcraft. And yeah, you can tell Alejandro he's in charge of the cyber leak report today. I'm busy.
Tulsi, welcome to the table. Honestly, I've reached a point where I don't even question where you are or why you're here. As long as you're not exposing any classified operations again, I really couldn't care less. This podcast stopped making sense around the time Joe told us he wore creeper diapers to the theater. So by all means, have a seat. Let's talk blocks.
I'm not even surprised anymore. We're almost 20 minutes past the guardrails. At this point, I say we just let the minecart run off the rails and enjoy the ride. Tulsi, since you've clearly got passion bottled up like a piston loop, who was your number one?
It's Mumbo Jumbo. Hands down. No question. That man could make a Turing machine using nothing but redstone, pistons, and pure British determination. I watched his Hermitcraft Vault-based security system once and literally tried to install a keypad lock on my actual front door. Failed miserably, but the inspiration, 10 out of 10.
Mumbo was the real deal. Every time he dropped a new season of Hermitcraft, I'd cancel whatever Kamala scheduled for me that afternoon. I remember once skipping a press conference just so I could watch his bamboo auto farm tutorial. I told the press secretary I had a diplomatic emergency, and technically it was, just one involving scaffolding and hoppers.
I'm a Dan T. DM guy, always have been. The guy had charm, polish, and he managed to create a brand without turning into a walking jump scare. His lab with Dr. Trioris, that was storytelling for kids done right. No smash that like button, just clean, funny, surprisingly creative content. I used to watch him on the treadmill at Mar-a-Lago. Made my workouts feel like I was watching Cartoon Network for grown-ups.
I was more of an Ethos Lab viewer. The guy was quiet, methodical, and weirdly philosophical. He'd drop a line like, "Sometimes you have to break things to build better while planting potatoes." It was meditative. I used to put him on while reading memos. Calmed me down more than jazz. Plus, the man could trap mobs better than half my Secret Service detail.
Anyone remember ant venom? That dude's voice was like butter. He made you feel like you could master Redstone and defeat the Ender Dragon in under 10 minutes. Even though I never got past crafting a compass, his adventure maps were wild. He once played a map that made him walk through a storyline about time loops. I didn't understand a word of it, but it made me cry.
You know who was underrated? Void. The guy was like the infrastructure backbone of Hermitcraft. Tutorials, optimization, bug breakdowns. He was the dude keeping the meta alive while everyone else was building treehouses with lava fountains. If Minecraft had a department of efficiency, he'd be the secretary.
I don't want to repeat names, but what about Captain Sparkles? The man had a music video universe before cinematic universes were even a thing. Fallen Kingdom, Take Back the Night, those were operas. Shakespeare wishes he had that narrative arc. I remember playing golf with Elon once, and we both admitted we cried watching the Creeper King fall. Don't quote me.
Too late. Already quoted. But you're right. That entire series hit different. It had more character development and 5 blocky music videos than most television dramas get in 5 seasons. And the production? Unbelievable. All done in-game, synced to music with custom skins and builds. People don't realize how groundbreaking that was.
And I'll say it, I cried too. When the kingdom fell and that piano riff hit, my soul left my body. I had to call Jill to hold me. She told me to go play with my villagers, and hung up.
The best part is that it wasn't just entertainment, it inspired people. Kids learned editing, storytelling, voice acting, all from Minecraft videos. You had folks building full-scale cities, automating farms, and producing multi-part role plays with arcs and character development. It was grassroots filmmaking on a pixelated canvas.
And I loved that it felt real, not fake polished Hollywood garbage. These were people recording in their bedrooms, you could hear dogs barking in the background, and none of that ruined it. In fact, it made it better. It was human. And you know how rare that is in media now?
I still have a playlist called Block Therapy. It's got everything from early Skydoes Minecraft butter rants, even if he sucks nowadays, to Grian's mansion building tutorials. I put it on during slow days at Ames. Helps me tune out when customers yell at me because we don't sell V-Bucks.
Okay, that's actually brilliant. And Joe, you just reminded me. There was a kid who sent me a letter in 2012 asking if he could redstone the White House. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but now, I wish we'd let him.
Better than whatever that last renovation budget got used for. At least the redstone circuits would have worked.
Just saying, if we'd had Hermitcraft seasoned planners running Congress, we might have passed a balanced budget by now. These guys organize 10-person prank wars and still build mega bases in their spare time.
I'd vote for Grian tomorrow. Put him in charge of transportation. Man knows how to build a rail system.
And he'd probably get it done under budget, in survival mode.
See? We're solving real problems here, all through Minecraft.
Maybe next episode we talk about who should lead in a Minecraft SMP government. I've got ideas. Some involve lava traps.
Only if I get to be mayor of the Villager Trading District.
We'll make it happen. Just promise me you won't wear the creeper diapers to the campaign rally.
No promises at all, Barry. Actually, you know what? Let's shift gears a little. New topic, new energy, same old blocky obsession. Let's talk about the worlds we built. Our greatest Minecraft saves, the ones we poured days, weeks, even months of our lives into. Worlds you accidentally forget to back up and then cry over when your dog steps on your power strip and wipes the hard drive. I want to hear it all. The builds, the disasters, the lore, the drama, the heartbreak. This is where we see who really lived a Minecraft life and who just pressed buttons.
All right, Sleepy Joe. I already know you're going to talk about some moss-covered shack made out of cobblestone and pain, but I'll humor you. My best world was called Trump Tower Craft, and it was as glorious as the name suggests. Creative mode, of course, because when you're me, you don't dig holes, you hire Endermen to do it. The spawn was a gold-trimmed penthouse on a floating obsidian island surrounded by lava falls that spelled out winning. I had quartz skyscrapers shaped like dollar signs, a working casino powered by redstone, and a prison made entirely out of bedrock where I kept all the griefers. My sheep farm had more infrastructure than the entire Nether. You could ride a minecart from one end to the other and still not see it all.
That's cute, Don, real cute. My world, Byton's Buildtopia, was pure survival. No cheats, no mods, no spawn eggs. Just grit, determination, and a whole lot of baked potatoes. Spawned in a jungle biome. Started out with a little wooden hut, turned it into a jungle village in the canopy. Bridges made out of vines and bamboo. Had a multi-tiered treehouse system, complete with a parrot aviary and a mob-free underground bunker where I kept every item I ever mined cataloged in labeled chests. Took 3 in-game years, but I connected my entire region with a red stone rail that passed through a jungle temple I repurposed into a transit hub. My base had a panda sanctuary, a cat cafe, and a throne room made entirely out of furnaces.
Gentlemen, you're both insane and somehow perfectly on brand. My best world was called Obamaville, survival mode, plains biome with a river wrapping around it, perfect for irrigation and fishing. I built a sprawling village with architectural consistency. Every house had a theme and matched the villager's profession. The librarian's house had a tower. The farmer's house was surrounded by crops and automated composters. The blacksmith's forge could smelt 64 ores in under a minute. I had a villager council. They voted on new building projects. I swear I coded it into the command blocks. Every vote had an actual tally. I made custom flags with loom patterns. There were walking paths lined with lanterns. My nether portal was built into a cliffside shrine and guarded by wolf packs I raised from puppies. It was beauty, order, and a little madness all in one.
Obamaville sounds like SimCity with villagers. My best world? It was called Tulsi Prime. Hardcore mode. Snowy mountain spawn. I hollowed out the entire mountain and built an underground fortress, illuminated by glow lichen and lava falls. Had themed biomes for training simulations, a desert arena for skeleton combat, a water dome for trident practice, and a parkour gauntlet through the nether. No armor, no HUD. I beat the Ender Dragon with a wooden sword just to prove a point. Named my dog Liberty, and rode him into battle against a Ravager during a raid. That world had honor. When I died, I held a funeral in real life, folded an American flag and everything.
This is ridiculous. Tulsi's out here doing Minecraft special ops while Sleepy Joe's running a daycare for pandas and Obama's hosting village PTA meetings. My world had a working stock exchange where I tracked emerald prices. My scoreboard tracked PvP kills. I built a redstone-powered propaganda tower that played my speeches with note blocks. I had fireworks synced to a resource pack of God Bless America. I had tourists, real players logging in from forums just to visit. I was basically the Disney World of Minecraft.
You use commands to give yourself everything. That's like printing out a trophy and calling yourself an Olympic athlete. Try surviving your first night in a thunderstorm, building a makeshift shelter out of dirt blocks and crying into your raw chicken because you forgot how to cook it.
He's got a point, Donald. Survival forces you to be creative under pressure. Every torch, every wall, every roof tile, it means something. You remember the creeper that blew up your sugarcane farm. You remember the lightning strike that burned half your cow pen. You remember where you were the first time you found diamonds.
And you remember where you were when you lost everything. That's the hardcore way. I still hear that creeper hiss in my dreams. Real pain, real lessons.
I once had a horse named Scranton Smasher. Best mount I ever had. Took me all the way to the ice spike biome. Got ambushed by pillagers. I held the line with half a heart and no shield. That's what Minecraft's about. Honor, struggle, friendship. Lost Scranton that day.
I built a monument taller than your render distance. It's spelled bigly. Lit it with sea lanterns and sent smoke signals from a lava pool. That's impact. That's legacy.
Let's just acknowledge that each of our worlds represented us. Joe's was earnest and chaotic. Donald's was grand and self-congratulatory. Mine was structured and thoughtful. Tulsi's was intense and heroic. And in their own ways, they were all beautiful.
Amen to that. But next time, we tour each other's worlds. No mods, no cheats, just raw gameplay.
Deal. But I'm not cleaning up after Trump's propaganda tower.
And I'm not feeding your pandas, Joe. They bite.
All right. Before this escalates into another Minecraft civil war, let's wrap it. But next week, I want a full redstone tutorial from all of you.
I'll bring the potatoes.
I'll bring the fireworks.
I'll bring the server.
And I'll bring the peace.
Gentlemen, I've had it. absolutely had it. We've spent the last hour talking about Minecraft worlds like we're a bunch of third graders on a field trip to Microsoft HQ, and quite frankly, I'm bored out of my mind. As much as I love describing my golden skyscraper and my bedrock prison with lava floors, it's time we steer this ship into far more dangerous, far more controversial waters. I'm talking about the real debate, the one that matters. I kicked Tulsi out, and you know why I did that? Because this next topic is going to make some people very angry, very fast, and I need full, unfiltered freedom for what I'm about to say.
Don, I swear to God, if this is about you trying to push Avril Lavigne off the face of the earth again, like you did in the 2020 group chat.
No, this is bigger than Avril. Though yes, she is on the list, and yes, I still firmly believe she's been replaced by a silicone clone operated by a maple syrup-powered AI, but this right here is something sacred. We are ranking, yes, ranking, like the old ESPN drafts, the 8 most debatefully modern female celebrities. Not just by looks, not just by talent, but by everything. We're ranking Sydney Sweeney, Sabrina Carpenter, Jenna Ortega, Avril Lavigne, Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, Kat Dennings, and Olivia Rodrigo. 1 to 8. Let the bloodbath begin.
Oh Lord, I knew it. I knew the moment you brought a spreadsheet to the call, this wasn't going to be about policy anymore. Why do I keep agreeing to these episodes?
Because Barack, deep down you love this. You love pretending like you're above the chaos, and then 5 minutes in you're yelling about who had better stage presence at the VMAs. So yeah, let's do this. I've been avoiding this for weeks, but Dawn's right. It was going to happen eventually.
Exactly. All right. Round 1, Sydney Sweeney versus Sabrina Carpenter. We're starting heavy. Sydney's got the raw magnetism, the kind of energy where you just know if she walks into a room, everyone stops talking because they are staring at her balloons for the part. Yeah, totally. But Sabrina, she's not just a performer. She's a tactician. She's got this unspoken PR genius behind her whole career arc. Joe, who you got? And don't determine your answer by just looking down.
Okay, I'm going to say this, and I know I'm going to get dragged online, but Sabrina, look, Sydney's got the hypnotic vibe thing down. I'm not denying that. Those puppies look like nice pillows for me to sleep on, pal. But Sabrina's got that wild, unpredictable, I might slash your tires, but also win a Grammy kind of energy that you just can't manufacture. She's tiny, chaotic, powerful. Like if a Sour Patch Kid became sentient and started writing chart toppers.
I'm going Sydney, and here's why. Sabrina's cool, sure, but Sydney's got depth. She plays these layered, emotionally wrecked characters and doesn't flinch once. She walks this line between intensity and allure that I don't think Sabrina's figured out yet. Sabrina's rising, but Sydney's already cemented.
And I break the tie, and I say Sabrina. Why? Because she hasn't gone full Hollywood weird yet. She's still hungry, still strategic. Sydney's already in danger of getting cast in the Sexy Cyborg reboot in 5 years. Sabrina moves on. Barack, shut the fuck up, you pervert. I know you love her melons.
I can already feel Tumblr waking up just to get mad at us. And Don, we all love her melons. That is why half of Hollywood even pays attention to her. Welp, I'm definitely getting canceled after that. Don't get duped.
Next matchup, Kat Dennings versus Billie Eilish. This one's gonna break some hearts. Barack, basically a wild ball buster versus some moany emo chick that never grew up.
Kat Dennings, without a doubt. I respect Billie's talent, but Kat has this presence. She's sardonic, witty, absolutely unapologetic. She walks into any room and immediately you feel like you're about to get roasted. She'd survive a nuclear fallout just by being unimpressed by it.
I'm going Billie. The girl has reinvented herself more times than some people change passwords. She's vulnerable, sharp, and her music is like a fog that settles into your bones. You don't get to ignore that just because she wears baggy clothes and talks in lowercase.
You both make decent points, but I'm sticking with Kat. She has this timeless energy that doesn't rely on trends. She was ahead of the sarcastic girl wave before anyone even labeled it. She's a walking quote tweet. Kat moves forward.
Sorry, Billy, I still listen to Happier Than Ever when I'm making soup.
Now the big one, Taylor Swift versus Avril Lavigne. I swear, if either of you picks Avril, I will walk out of this podcast, climb into my bunker, and nuke the internet. At least Taylor is a real woman, even though she's a horse. You all know what word I really mean.
Taylor, obviously. She's created an empire. You don't go from country sweetheart to global phenomenon without knowing exactly who you are and what you're doing. She's a songwriter, a strategist, a business genius. Avril peaked in 2002 and never came back.
Taylor again. I mean, I loved Avril's early stuff, but Taylor's out here selling out stadiums back to back while rewriting the rules of the industry, and I can't ignore that she's got songs for literally every emotion I've ever had, even the ones I didn't know I had. I want to be her next boyfriend.
Thank God, that was the only sane response. If either of you had tried to defend Avril, I would have started drafting executive orders from my Minecraft castle. Taylor wins, and it's not even close. I hate them both, but Taylor isn't programmed by some stupid AI. Who can relate to that?
All right, last one. Jenna Ortega versus Olivia Rodrigo.
This is brutal. Jenna's got the edge, that subtle danger, like she could play a detective or an assassin in the same movie. But Olivia, she's raw, unfiltered. Guts was an emotional haymaker. I'm picking Olivia.
Same. Olivia's the kind of artist you accidentally cry to in a Walgreens. She taps into the teen angst in everyone, even 82-year-olds like me. Jenna's cool, but Olivia's real.
Yeah, fine, Olivia. But only because Jenna hasn't dropped a platinum album yet. And Biden, what was that Mexican impression? Bruh, am I tripping again?
Final four, Sabrina Carpenter, Kat Dennings, Taylor Swift, and Olivia Rodrigo. Let's rumble.
Sabrina versus Kat first. That's chaos versus calm fury. I pick Sabrina. She's on the rise and has more to prove.
Kat, she's been in the game longer, plays the long con, and doesn't need the spotlight to dominate.
Kat wins. Sabrina's great, but Kat's already a finished product. She's the one your friends warn you about, and you still follow her to the dive bar.
Now the Titan matchup. Taylor Swift versus Olivia Rodrigo.
I love Olivia, I really do. But Taylor's in a league of her own. She's built empires, destroyed exes, and still came out likable. She's a brand and an artist. Olivia will get there, but not yet.
Taylor. Sorry, Kat, but Taylor's a cultural earthquake.
Finals, Taylor Swift versus Kat Dennings.
Taylor. End of discussion. Kat can win the sarcastic Nobel Prize. Taylor wins everything else. Talk about the world being rigged.
Taylor it is. Let the internet scream.
And that, gentlemen, was democracy at work. But because of that vote, I want to overthrow it for real this time.
And possibly our last episode before Swifties cancel us all.
Worth it. Next week, male celebs. Cavill versus Pascal is going to hurt.
All right, now that we've crowned Taylor Swift the undisputed empress of modern pop culture, totally not, because I don't want to get dislike bombed by Swifties, and I've officially healed the internet by fixing its taste. I want to pivot us into a new territory, something even more pressing, more urgent, and frankly more insulting to my sense of storytelling than anything else we've discussed today: Hollywood. And more specifically, the absolute cinematic atrocity known as the Snow White remake. I watched the trailer and I genuinely thought I was having a stroke. It's like someone fed a fairy tale into a blender, dumped in a gallon of social commentary, then left it in a parking lot during a heat wave. It is, without exaggeration, one of the worst looking films I've ever seen. And that includes the fake Home Alone 3 I made Barron watch once, just to toughen him up.
No, you're not lying, man. I tried to watch it too. Jill put it on. I made it about 7 minutes in before I thought I was watching one of those AI-generated fan edits. You know, the kind where they take a Disney classic and swap everyone with vegetables? The mirror started monologuing about independence. Snow White was doing parkour in the woods, and the dwarves were replaced by, 7 unpaid interns on a diversity quota? I don't even know. But I was out cold before the end of the first act. And trust me, I've stayed awake for VeggieTales.
Yeah, I gave it a shot, and it felt like a college group project with a $100 million budget. I'm all for modernizing stories, but you've got to maintain narrative integrity. They stripped away everything that made Snow White. Snow White. No stakes, no charm, no coherent character arcs. Just scenes with bad lighting and worse dialogue stitched together by vague empowerment slogans. It was like watching a political campaign ad for a candidate that doesn't exist.
Exactly. So here's what we're going to do. Since Hollywood clearly has no idea what it's doing anymore, and we've already proven that we have better cultural taste than 99% of the industry, I'm issuing a challenge. Right here, right now, each of us has to come up with an original movie concept. Title, plot, cast, director, everything. The only goal? Make something better than the Snow White remake, which, let's be honest, is a bar so low it might as well be buried in the Mariana Trench. Let's show them how it's done.
I've been holding on to a movie pitch for years. I call it Delaware Drift. It's a buddy road movie, kind of like Thelma and Louise meets Chef, but with two washed-up grocery store clerks who realize their local grocery chain, the one they worked at for decades, is being turned into a luxury yoga studio. So they steal an old food truck, slap on a decal that says "Groceries Not Goats," and hit the road to revisit all their old grocery store haunts. It's nostalgic, it's emotional, and it's got a healthy amount of slapstick. I want Bryan Cranston as the sensible one and Danny DeVito as the wild card. Directed by Greta Gerwig, because I want to give her a shot at redemption after she got dragged into that Snow White disaster. Even if she's an untalented asshole, everyone deserves a 10th chance.
That's actually pretty solid, Joe. I'd greenlight that tomorrow.
Okay, mine, titled Tower of Gold. And no, it's not autobiographical. Okay, maybe a little. It's about a ruthless billionaire real estate tycoon who stumbles on a secret hidden beneath the foundation of his latest skyscraper. Turns out the land is cursed, tied to an ancient economic order where everything works in reverse. Gain power by losing money, become invisible by being seen. He's forced to navigate this bizarre, surreal underworld to save his company and maybe his soul. Starring John Hamm in the lead because he's got the look, and Charlize Theron as a rival mogul who may or may not be the villain. Directed by Christopher Nolan. Think The Matrix meets Succession, but with 300% more mirrors and monologues about capitalism. With appearances by John Port and Technoblade.
All right, those are strong. Let me throw mine into the ring. It's called Echo Chamber, set in a future where society is entirely divided into algorithmic tribes. People only hear opinions they already agree with, and it's illegal to have a conversation with someone from a different info class. A rogue journalist, played by Mahershala Ali, starts an underground podcast where people from opposite sides talk for real. He becomes a target, hunted by government propaganda bots. There's tension, intrigue, and deep commentary on the modern media ecosystem. Directed by Ava DuVernay, Adam Driver plays the propaganda minister. Soundtrack by Ludwig Göransson.
Okay, that's deep. I like that. It's like the Hunger Games for NPR listeners.
Mine still has more explosions, but go on.
I've got another animated film this time, titled Mayor of Monkey Town. It's about a chimpanzee who gets accidentally elected mayor of a small town after a ballot counting error. Instead of resigning, he takes the job seriously and ends up solving all the town's problems using zoo logic and banana economics. Think Zootopia meets Parks and Recreation, but with more fruit and fewer humans. Voiced by Steve Carell and Kamala Harris, Maya Rudolph, soundtrack by Randy Newman. The emotional climax involves a school bus teetering on a banana peel cliff.
I'd watch that with Sasha and Malia on a Sunday.
All right, last one from me. Liberty Lasers, set in a dystopian future where Earth Moon has secretly been converted into a surveillance weapon controlled by globalist elites. A rogue team of astronauts, led by Pedro Pascal, hacks into the lunar base with help from a rebel hacker played by Zendaya. The twist? The moon was weaponized decades ago, and Pedro's dad was one of the original engineers. The twist? The moon was weaponized decades ago, and Pedro's dad was one of the original engineers. Directed by Michael Bay, soundtrack by Hans Zimmer. The third act has a laser dogfight over the Atlantic. Pure cinema.
That's actually kind of incredible.
All right, let's be honest. Every single one of these would make more money, more sense, and more fans than that abomination they tried to pass off as Snow White. We've got character arcs, original ideas, emotional depth, and talking monkeys. They had a woman yelling at a mirror while a CGI deer cried.
I say we start our own studio, Presidential Pictures. Our first slogan, we promise it won't suck.
Second slogan, no parkour in the enchanted forest.
Hollywood, if you're listening, we've got the ideas. Just send the contracts.
All right, now let's say hypothetically, or maybe not so hypothetically, because frankly, I think Hollywood needs us. Let's say we actually got one of these brilliant ideas greenlit. We've got the script, the budget, the marketing team, even the merchandising contracts. Now comes the big question. Who is the #1 actress we booked to headline the film? One name, top tier, box office magnet, and if you pick wrong, the movie tanks harder than the Snow White remake's Rotten Tomatoes score.
No hesitation. Jenna Ortega, she's got the range, the mystery, the stare down power. I mean, come on. Wednesday Addams walked so my future grocery store action hero could run. You put her in Delaware Drift as the smart granddaughter helping the guys navigate Walmarts and highway rest stops. And suddenly it's not just a buddy comedy, it's generational. She's got Gen Z in her pocket, and she's sharp as hell. Jenna is the future.
Wrong. So very wrong. Jenna's got talent, sure, but she's not the face yet. My pick, Julia Roberts. I don't care what decade it is. You put Julia Roberts in a movie and you've got prestige, warmth, and every middle-aged woman in America buying a ticket twice. She's timeless. She can do rom-coms, thrillers, political dramas. You cast her as the villain in Tower of Gold, instant Oscar buzz. She brings gravitas. She brings credibility. She is Hollywood.
Don, she was great in the 90s. But we're in the TikTok age now. Jenna's the now. Julia would need a rotary phone to read her lines.
Both decent picks. But I think I'm going a little off the usual Hollywood map here. I'm choosing Brett Cooper.
Who? The fuck?
Wait, hold on. Brett Cooper? The Daily Wire chick who does YouTube reacts?
Yes, she's articulate, poised, has this old school screen presence. She's sharp, controlled, can hold a scene, and she could absolutely nail a dystopian thriller or even an indie flick. Give her the right director, she could become a breakout. She's got the potential to surprise everybody.
Okay, that was unexpected, but fine, she's got presence. Still not a Julia.
She's definitely got a following, but it kind of sounds like you're a little too enthusiastic, Barack, like real enthusiastic.
Yeah, that was suspiciously passionate. What's going on here? You her agent or something?
What? No, of course not. I just think she's got range and vision. Yeah, vision.
You're blushing harder than the time Kamala told me I wasn't allowed in the kitchen after dark.
Hold up, are you dating Brett Cooper?
Absolutely not. Currently, publicly.
Well, I hope she's ready to sit through 3-hour director's cuts of your philosophical dystopia, because that script ain't light.
This is wild. I mean, I was gonna joke about nepotism in casting, but you actually turned it into a documentary.
All right, you've had your fun. Just remember, when Echo Chamber gets nominated for Best Picture, I'll be the one smiling on the red carpet with my lead actress.
Oh my God, he totally is. He's dating Brett Cooper. That's why he's pitching her like it's Shark Tank. And we'll be there too. Me with Jenna, Don with a cardboard cutout of Julia Roberts.
It's not a cutout if it has heart, Joe.
All right, fellas, this episode's been one for the history books. We picked fights with Swifties, wrote better movie scripts than half of Hollywood, and even accidentally outed Obama's relationship with Brett Cooper. And now, before we dive into another tangent that'll derail the entire internet, I've got to say something kind of important. We need to wrap this episode up soon, and not just because I'm getting sleepy, although I am. It's because I've got obligations. Coldplay needs me.
Coldplay needs you? I'm sorry, what? Joe, have you hit your head on a cereal box again? You said that with the kind of confidence people use when they say they invented sliced bread. Did you mean to say cold cut sandwich, or are you telling me the actual band Coldplay, multi-platinum global chart toppers, somehow found themselves in a position so desperate that you, Joseph Robinette Biden, are their chosen savior?
I'm going to need clarification. Is this metaphorical? Is this a fever dream? Or did someone prank call you again while you were at the Ames with an old landline phone taped to a mop?
No, I swear on my Little Pony themed toilet seat, this is 100% real. I was doing karaoke night at the Ames, you know, like I do every Friday to boost morale. and I sang Viva la Vida. I even did the falsetto part. Everyone clapped. Kamala said she recorded it and sent it to her contact at Capitol Records, or maybe Spotify. I can't remember. Anyway, 2 days later, I get this call. British accent. They said Chris Martin's stepping away for a while to meditate in Iceland or hang out with Will Smith or something.
This is the most disturbing thing I've heard all week, and I just read a New York Times piece about mushroom-infused yoga socks. Joe, Coldplay is not holding open auditions for someone who thinks a karaoke machine is a musical instrument. Chris Martin isn't giving up his throne to a guy who thinks Guitar Hero is a legitimate resume entry. This has to be a scam.
It's real. Kamala says I have to get ready for a European tour. She also said I need to take a break from the Ames store. Apparently, I've been scaring off customers by shadow boxing with cereal boxes, which I do not recall but accept as possible. She said people want to work with her instead. She thinks she's more professional, which is fair, though I do worry she might turn the store into a campaign headquarters again in 2028.
Oh, for the love of gold-plated golf clubs. Kamala thinks she's professional? The same Kamala who ran a campaign into the ground so fast it hit bedrock? She couldn't manage a bake sale without ending up on National Debt Watch, and now she's deciding store logistics? Joe, I'm genuinely concerned you're letting her gaslight you into quitting your own fictional job.
And let's not forget this is the same Kamala who accidentally got the break room vending machine to accept NFTs as payment and had to call 3 customer service lines just to undo the transaction.
Look, I trust her judgment. She's been helpful, supportive. Besides, she's my girlfriend.
Excuse me, what the actual flying fuck?
Joe, since when is Kamala your girlfriend? What happened to Jill? Is she still fucking Tom Holland?
Well, it's complicated. Jill's been spending a lot of time with Tom Holland lately.
I'm sorry, what in the multiverse is happening right now? Jill Biden is dating Spider-Man? And you're cool with this? Joe, I need a mop for my brain. I'm gonna go throw up in the metaphorical sink of reality.
To be fair, this isn't the first time Jill and Tom have been spotted at charity galas together. There was buzz, but we all thought it was just photo ops.
And I haven't exactly been loyal either. I've been emotionally attached to my custom Lana Del Rey NPC in GTA 5, and recently in GTA 6 beta. I take her to Cluck and Bell, then we ride mopeds through Los Santos. It's beautiful.
This is officially too much. I am on the verge of full psychological collapse. First Coldplay, then Kamala, then Jill swinging through Washington with Tom Holland, and now you're dating a polygonal pop star in a crime simulator? I need to sit down and rethink my entire stance on reality.
Wait, hold on. I just checked my pill box. I forgot to take my dementia pills again. Kamala's not my girlfriend, she's my former VP, and my friend. Jill's still my wife. Tom Holland probably isn't dating her. The NPC isn't real. I think I just got confused.
Oh, thank God I was about to text Melania and Mew and tell them they could move back in because the world had clearly ended.
So no Coldplay tour?
I mean, maybe. That part still feels kind of real.
Joe, if you step on a stage and try to sing Yellow, I will personally fly to the venue and pull the plug. For your own good.
Fine. Then I'll just sing Tater Tot Tango instead. It's catchy. Kamala says I have the voice of an angel.
She says that because she wants you to leave the Ames.
Wrap this thing up before I need a therapist.
All right, that's our show, folks. Join us next time when we pitch a new animated musical about the presidential pets forming a jazz band. It's going to be called Sax in the Constitution and feature the ghost of John Adams playing a spectral oboe.
Please no. I don't want to watch a CGI George W. Bush's dog learn how to play drums from a hologram of Miles Davis. And viewers, we aren't done yet. Ignore Joe.
If you people force me to animate a tap-dancing, bald eagle-wearing Ray-Bans just to keep this franchise afloat, I'm quitting the podcast and starting a WordPress blog.
Also, quick shout out to whoever keeps leaving chocolate pudding on the break room chair at Ames. That was a surprise I didn't enjoy. My pants did not enjoy it either. Nor did the poor intern who had to get me back up khakis.
Pretty sure that's on Kamala's new employee onboarding checklist. Demoralize Joe with dessert sabotage. She probably has a PowerPoint about it with a pie chart showing the effectiveness of different pudding types by trauma level.
She's probably outsourcing it to AI. Write me 100 pudding-based prank ideas. And the chatbot replied with a multi-page strategy doc and a marketing plan.
Can we make that a movie idea? Pudding Wars, the Dairy Rebellion, a gritty action drama where dairy desserts rise up against their human overlords and declare independence with nothing but whipped cream cannons and the moral support of the Greek yogurt community.
No, but I'm stealing that for my next song. I'm already thinking the first verse goes, revenge is a dish best served, chilled, and chocolate. It's going to slap. I can hear the TikTok dance already.
You're welcome. Just give me 20% royalties, 10% extra if you release a Christmas remix.
You guys are unwell, absolutely unhinged, and yet somehow this is still more coherent than 3/4 of the stuff coming out of Hollywood right now.
And yet we still make better content than Netflix? I mean, let's be real. We're out here building cinematic universes from grocery stores and pudding chairs, while Netflix is on its 4th season of Attractive People Whisper in Vancouver.
Speaking of which, next week, Netflix Originals tier list. I want to finally put Tall Girl where it belongs, S tier. She's tall, she's brave, and she wears size 13 Nikes. Iconic.
I swear, if you put Tall Girl in S tier again, I'm leaving. I'm actually leaving the podcast and sending in Cory Booker as my replacement. That guy can spend 25 hours with MAGA cronies, so he can put up with this too, I hope.
She's tall, it's aspirational, kids need to dream big, literally and figuratively.
I'm logging off before my brain folds in half like a bad origami swan made by a sleep-deprived raccoon. But eject this doofus and maybe I'll stay.
All right. Podcast over, cue the outro music, which, by the way, is still just me humming clocks into a tape recorder because Coldplay hasn't called me back yet.
Provided they don't send a cease and desist letter on Coldplay branded stationery with a handwritten note from Chris Martin begging us to stop.
They're too busy trying to replace Joe with a harmonica that knows the lyrics to Fix You.
That's cold, man. Cold like play. All right, guys, no joke this time. I actually got to get going. I know I've said that like 6 times already, but Kamala's blowing up my phone, and one of the messages literally said, Joe, evacuate the premises, followed by a gif of SpongeBob running into the burning Krusty Krab dang. I'm pretty sure that means she knows something I don't. Look, after everything I've said today, the Coldplay frontman stuff, the pudding incidents, my deep emotional relationship with a GTA NPC, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump's whole cabinet was putting together some kind of Biden-specific response team right now, like a biohazard in khakis.
Oh no, Joe, you're absolutely right to be scared. I'd be scared too if I were you, especially considering the nightmare dream team I've assembled for my cabinet. Pete Hegseth, my Secretary of Defense now, the man literally goes to bed with war paint on and wakes up shouting, "Hoorah!" into his coffee. He once wrestled a bear in a Bass Pro parking lot because it looked disrespectful. If you think Hey Ha is going to let your GTA Lana NPC slide without an armed drone strike on your laptop, you are sorely mistaken.
Jesus, Pete's in charge of what now? Oh, no. Oh, no. Last time I saw Pete, he told me he wanted to put camouflage on Air Force One and rename it the Freedom Bird. I thought he was joking. I laughed on him.
He's just your warm-up pal. My Secretary of Health and Human Services is RFK Jr. And let me tell you, he thinks vaccines are a form of digital mind control, but also believes celery juice can cure heartbreak. The man uses copper bracelets to align his chakras and thinks vitamin gummies are sentient. He heard you once drank expired NyQuil on a dare, and now he's got a task force called Biden Watch. It's mostly interns with binoculars and infrared scanners. My Attorney General, Pam Bondi. That woman cross-referenced every legal misstep you've made since 1974. She even found a parking ticket you got in Scranton for blocking a milk truck. She says that counts as obstruction. And she has a manila folder labeled pudding crimes, Joe. A whole damn folder.
This sounds like the plot of a rejected X-Men spin-off.
You've got a folder for pudding I've been framed. It's pudding propaganda. I knew it. Kamala said this would happen. She said, Joe, one day the snacks will catch up to you. I thought she meant my cholesterol, not federal indictment.
And let's not forget the crown jewel, Linda McMahon, Secretary of Education. She's planning to replace standardized testing with tables, ladders, and chairs matches. She said if a student can body slam their teacher through a desk and still recite the Bill of Rights, they pass civics.
Linda McMahon running education? What is this, a crossover episode of C-SPAN SmackDown?
Okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm putting on a fake mustache, a hoodie, and applying for a job at Dairy Queen in Alaska. Nobody asks questions in Alaska. Nobody sends subpoenas to Dairy Queen. Kamala said she'll pack my mittens.
You better bring heat packs, because Pete Hegseth already asked me to authorize a snowmobile unit. He's calling it Operation Angry Grandpa Melt.
Hold on, Joe. Before you vanish into the frozen yogurt protection program, I got one last question for Don over here.
Hit me, preferably with something soft. I'm delicate today.
Why, and I mean this sincerely, why do you think you can run again in 2028? The 22nd Amendment exists. It's not a decoration, it's not a polite suggestion, it's literally in the Constitution, Don. You had 2 terms, it's over. It's done. Not even Reagan tried this. And Biden, you only one got term. Don't go all senile saying you got 2 of them. You only became president because I made you my bitch and you ran on that in the primaries.
Look, the 22nd Amendment was written at a time when people churned their own butter and thought polio was a fun word. It's outdated. We live in the age of Twitter, AI, and Instagram thirst traps. And if the people demand I return, then I'm doing my civic duty. The Constitution should thank me.
What if we just overturn the amendment, let Obama run in 2028, and let him kick your ass properly, since you chickened out in 2012 and ran off to film Celebrity Apprentice with Meatloaf and Dennis Rodman? You're a walking double standard, Don. Hey, you weren't as orange back then. Take a hint.
I didn't chicken out. I strategically paused for branding purposes. That show made me a household name in more zip codes than the Electoral College has delegates. Plus, I didn't want to run against a guy who weaponized hope and looked like a motivational TED Talk.
So let's do it now. I'll run. You run. No restrictions, no excuses. Full gloves off presidential Royal Rumble. Winner gets the country. Loser has to guest star on The Masked Singer dressed as the national debt.
I'm throwing my hat in too. If Grimace can come back from exile, so can I. Kamala says my campaign ads would be so wholesome they'd melt faces. I got a slogan, one more ride.
Joe, you're going to trip over your own slogan. You'll be halfway through one more ride and forget where you parked the bus. You're not running for office, you're running for the nearest recliner.
Joe's idea of a political platform is just a patio chair in front of the Ames. He thinks public policy involves coupons and seasonal markdowns.
Hey, the people love a good BOGO deal.
You'd be the first president to deliver the State of the Union in footy pajamas while sipping a Yoo-hoo.
And you'd be the first to conduct a press briefing from a tanning bed.
Look, 2028 is mine, whether Congress likes it or not. If they give me pushback, I'll just make Eric Speaker of the House and let him declare me president by interpretive dance.
I'm just praying none of us get assassinated by a rogue pudding cup before next week.
God bless America and all who survived this podcast.
Tune in next time when we discuss which national monuments should be turned into escape rooms. Spoiler alert, Mount Rushmore has a basement.
Lord help us. All right, folks, that's going to do it for our first official episode of the Presidential Podcast. Hopefully not the last, depending on whether or not RFK Jr. sends a cease and desist for us mocking his smoothie routine. Before we sign off, we want to hear from you. Who had the wildest moment today? Was it Joe thinking Coldplay offered him a world tour slot, or Donald trying to rebrand the Constitution as optional DLC? Would you actually watch one of the ridiculous movie pitches we came up with? Or do you think our jazz band made up of ghost presidents might be the next breakout franchise? Should I actually consider running in 2028 just to end this circus once and for all? Or should I keep letting these two tear each other apart while I host from the sidelines with popcorn? Let us know what you thought of this beautiful, dysfunctional, possibly brain cell destroying episode, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and pray for democracy. We'll see you next time unless we get arrested first.